Hey YouTube, it's Grace and welcome to episode 6 of my series where I take every single painting from Minecraft and make them in real life. This week I did the gram painting, I think that's how you say it. I painted this design once a few months ago where I decided to challenge myself to do a painting with my non-dominant hand, which is my right hand because I'm left-handed. But I made it with my left hand this time because I want to like redo every painting just for the sake of this series. Anyways, this painting was pretty simple, so it didn't take me too long to make, thankfully, but I really like how it turned out. And if you're wanting to learn how to make these paintings for yourself, check out my Etsy. By the time that this video is posted, I will have a tutorial for this painting up as well. So link to my Etsy down below in the description if you would like to check that out. You can try to use this video as a tutorial, but the guide thing that I have on there is going to be way more in depth. But anyways, let's get into it. This week I'm going to be making the gram painting, which is 16 by 32 pixels. And I'm going to be making it on this canvas, which is 12 by 24 inches. Now the first step is figuring out the size of each pixel, and y'all know the drill by now, which is you take 12 inches, divide it by 16 pixels, then you take 24 inches and divide that by 32 pixels, and we get 0.75. So each pixel is going to be 0.75 inches. Then with a ruler and a pencil, I'm going to be marking every 0.75 inches all the way around all four sides. Just finished making all of the marks. I did have to add an extra line down the middle because my ruler just isn't long enough. And I also double counted, so it definitely is 32 by 16. Next, I'll be using my ruler and connecting all of these little lines to actually make the grid. And here is the finished grid. I think it turned out pretty good. If you saw the last part to this series, you'll know that my primer right now is really old. So I am using the cheap white paint again to get a similar effect. This actually works great because a lot of cheaper paints are thin, and I need this paint to be thin so that I can see the grid through it. So it actually ends up working out perfectly. Now I just need to let this dry and then I can start on the color. I'm gonna be honest with you, this has been drying for like almost a week at this point, but I'm back and ready to continue. As always, I'll be starting with the border just so that I don't get confused with counting pixels later. And this is the color that I ended up with, which I used these 3 paints to mix. Just finished painting the border, so I'm having it sit on these little paint containers just so that the paint doesn't dry to the paper towel. But I will see you once this is dry so I can start on the rest of it. Now starting on the actual design, I'll be doing the black first just because it takes up so much space on the canvas and I think it'll help me mark everything else out. And the way I figure out where each pixel goes is just by starting in one of the corners, counting over and down, and then lining everything up. I'll usually mark it out with like a line or a dot, and then I'll just fill everything in. Ignoring the little parts where I messed up, here is how it looks now. I just realized that this part and this part here are kind of the same color as the border, so I'm just going to go ahead and fill those in using the same color and then add a little bit of detailing and variation later. Next on my little to-do list is this really light blue color here, which I ended up with this. And as you can probably guess, I just used white with a little bit of blue. Another update, I'm going to be doing this light red color next, and this is the color I ended up with, and these are the paints that I used to make it. I just filled in the skin tone with a color that I already had, but it was kind of just like a tannish, lightish yellow color. And then this light blue, I just took this blue and added a little bit of white to it. And for this color that I'm about to do here, I just took the same color as the border and added a little bit of white to it as well. All right, I just did 3 more colors. I started off with this gray, which I just used this for. Then for the brownish gray, I just took that color and added a bit of brown to it. And then I did a dark gray, which I just also took this gray and added some black to it. So we are almost done with the first coat at this point. Now that this is pretty much dry, it's time to move on to the second coat. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know that that just means adding another coat to clean up the lines and make the paint more opaque, because as you can see, you can still kind of see through it in some spots, but overall just using the same colors. Now that the second coat is done, it's time to start adding some details. So as you can see within each color, there are some slight variations. So what I'm going to be doing is mixing a color that's similar to the base color, except like a little bit lighter or a little bit darker. And then just using that to sort of pixelate everything out and add some more details and basically just make it look a little bit more like the reference. I didn't film it, but I just did a couple colors so far. I took this color, mixed it with a little bit of orange and also with a little bit of red to add some variation there. And then I also did this color here, I have a slightly lighter version of it just to pixelate it out a little bit. And honestly, this painting's pretty simple, so there's not a lot left to do besides pixel out this bottom part here. And after adding most of the details, this is how it's looking. I'm just gonna wait for it to dry and then I'll show you how it looks in natural light. And this is how it looks completely dry and in more natural lighting. I think I really like how this painting turned out and I hope that you do too. Now, I have had a few people asking me if I sell these paintings, so I'm going to give you sort of a little information on that. Because the answer is yes, I just have to be careful with copyrights and such. So I cannot make prints of these paintings, I cannot mass produce these designs in any way. But for the sake of this series, if you would like to purchase like one painting that I make for each video, check out my Instagram, I will have that linked in the description. And I will be selling these individual paintings from this series. Because I know that a lot of you guys like this kind of art and I don't have room in my house for that many paintings. So yeah, message me on Instagram, but whenever I have a new painting, I do list it on my story. So it's kind of a first come, first served type basis. And also once I finish this series, I may start doing commissions again. I haven't really decided just because I felt like when I was doing commissions, I was getting a little bit burnt out because I didn't have as much creative freedom over what I was making. But I really do enjoy making things for people, so we'll see. But I think that concludes this video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!